this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'll have a go at repotting this maple now. This is one of a pair which I call sister maples because they were 6-inch sticks in pots at the same time, and they've grown on together as like sisters, even though they're different hybrids. No ID. Paraphernalia, I've got the secateurs in case there's any big roots that I want to take off. I've got my wood saw for taking off large sections of root. I may not use that. I've got my root rake, I've got my root hook, and I've got my wire cutters and a pair of pliers, not quite sure why. And I've got my spare battery in the camera, which is a small battery compared with the heavy duty one. It could run out part way through this. And if I'm not watching the screen, I won't know it's about to happen, so there might be an abrupt break while I put the other spare battery in. Anyway, I'm not going to film both of them. It's an identical process. This could have been done about a week ago, should have been done about a week ago, because some of the leaves are actually open. I may lose a couple of the new growths that are pushed on. We might get away with it. It's one of those don't knows. Now this is very strange. I have a wire going across the top of the pot, and I don't have anything going under the pot. Goodness knows what's going on here. But I'm just going to cut that and see if it will pull out. It's almost as though it's been, taken off before, yes. So I've already taken it off at the bottom of the pot, and I bet I know why, because this should have been repotted last year, and I probably started and then something went wrong. Yeah, that bit's not going to come out, that probably goes right in under the tree. But hopefully it will lift out of the pot. Oh! And there again it might not. It's going back in the same pot. Let's just see if I can run the root hook round there. I might have to get a blade on it. It's going back in the same pot, so unfortunately it's been in here a long time. It's going to be very root bound and very tight in there. This could be difficult. Absolutely embedded. So I might have to get a blade and push a blade round there, because just this isn't going down very deep at all. Sometimes the rake will go down and ease it away from the side of the pot. Do that in various places, it might lift out. No, I don't think it's going to come out. It's an absolute solid mass of roots. Doing this isn't going to help it come out of the pot, is it? I'm just trying to see what I'm dealing with here. Yeah, this is just a solid mass of roots. Just double check that I haven't got any wire under here. And I'm missing something here. I don't think so. There is stubs of wire where there has been wire, but it's not there now. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's nothing wrong with that pot, it's going back in there. To get it back in there, it needs a smaller root base. Now I am going to use this. I've been watching Corinne get his electric saw out and taking large sections of roots off using a saw, well, an electric version of something like this. And I like the idea of being able to take off. The problem is I know I've got a piece of wire in here which I'm not happy about. Just take off a section of roots. And he does this with an electric one. I haven't got an electric one, so I'll use a manual one. And by doing this, it automatically sets up a space ready for new media and roots to grow into. That's the theory behind it. I like the idea a lot. This is not doing as the job anywhere near as quickly as happens on the other side. I think patience is a virtue. I'm knocking an awful lot of buds off here. Right, so now let's start pulling and tugging and see what we get. Goodness me, this was heavy on the grit. Really heavy on the grit. Right, so that's one side done, or partly done, not fully done. I'm not sure we're going to, it's just such a solid mass, doesn't want to let go of anything. Word of warning for you, don't leave your stuff in the pots so long that it's totally root bound, because it makes, you know, dealing with it really difficult. Let's see if I can get another piece off of there. See what I'm doing. So that's one side done. And try and do an end. I've got, this is ridiculous actually, using my scissors. These are not designed for doing roots with grit in the root ball. These are for delicate trimming really, you know, bud pruning, and I use them on my orchids as well. This is going to blunt them. I mean, these are good, they're stainless steel, so they will sharpen up again. But I do have a set of root pruning shears on order, but because of the bank holiday weekend, they're not here yet. So the time they get here, I'll have done all my repotting, but I won't have done it all. As I say, I've got another one of these to do. And the other one that's becoming desperate is my hornbeam, which is another one that's been in the pot an absolute age. It's going to be a pig to deal with. So we've done two ends and one side. We have one side left to do. Some pretty hefty roots in this bit. Just having a look at the screen, I'm glad you can't see the expression on my face. This is hard work. Right, so we've done the two sides and the two ends. What we've got to do now is basically pull away, tease away at the top, which will then progress down the sides. What else is that? Some sort of weed germinating. Now I sort of look along the, you know, like the sort of thing that Corinne sort of says, you know, you don't have to take all the old media off. If you've decided you want to take the moss off, then do so. You know, give the top a good rake so that new media can go down where it was. We've got a lot of roots on the surface of bonsai pots. How's that battery doing? So far so good. That's not too bad. Now let's start niggling. I'm going to try and now do the same with the saw and take the bottom off. This is not going to be easy. When I worked on the buildings when I was very young, the sort of college holiday job, the carpenter there was adamant that he said people don't use saws properly. They try and push and squeeze and lean on and everything like that. Let the blade do the work. Just push it backwards and forwards relatively gently and let the blade do the work. Don't try and do all the work yourself. And certainly when you're cutting timber it works. So there's an area there where this saw is just not having any effect. I've got a feeling that's where the wire is. I still haven't got that piece of wire out yet. Ah, that's good. It's one of my little thingies. Can't see the other one. It's got to be here somewhere, isn't it? Save me having to go and do another one. Unless it's still there. Ah, it's still there. Right, so those saved. Right, now we can start scratching away at the bottom. And that will expose a lot of these roots. And the ends of the roots, the bits that are going to grow on. There's that wire. Yeah, that's what was causing the trouble. Doesn't want to come out, does it? Alright, let's stick it up in the air then. See if I can lever it out. It doesn't want to come out, does it? Whew. Oh, I'm going to leave that for now. Right, now we're getting somewhere. I hope I've knocked too many buds off. This, another piece of wire. Obviously wire is in here that I wasn't aware of. Aha! That's why it won't come out. It's tucked under a root. That's why it wouldn't come out. Now it will. Jolly good. Come on. Gotcha. Right. Right, carry on scratching. Oh, there's some lovely grit used in this. It goes back a long time. This looks like granite. Oh, another piece of wire. Right, so we'll just have a tease along the ends, make sure we've exposed those areas, and then that's it. That's all it's going to get. Plenty of places for these roots to grow out now and get on into some new media. And with the bottom taken off, it makes the world of difference, because all of these roots are feeder roots down here, and they'll go straight into new media. and then they'll go and wrap around the edge of the plot, and then a couple of years time we'll have to start again. Right, so there we go, that's it. And now, obviously there's plenty of room to get new media in. Yeah, so that's that. Right, I shall have a clear up and then come back and we'll get the bits and pieces done and get it wired in and get the media set up, and then that one's done. This had its spring trim earlier in the year, so I don't need to prune this now. I just have to weep because of the buds I've knocked off. But practically every shoot on this plant is a pear. It's already doing that instead of that because it was pruned back earlier. Right, I'll have a clear up and I'll be back. Right, let's see what we can do then. These little butterflies aren't the best in the world. The wire is so thin. That must be a long time ago when I did them. But, they did the job and they'll do the job again. It seems silly making new ones when these are perfectly adequate. So the long spiky bits go through the holes. Now if I was doing these fresh, I'd do it the other way round and actually put the spiky bits up through the hole and then put the stuff on. But this works just as good. I mean, it's the way most people do it actually. Right, now in here I have the media I mixed up for last time. It's quite a gritty mix, bits of all sorts, but as this is a maple, I have some ericaceous potting compost, and I'm going to add some of that in on the grounds that acers in their natural environment, not that this is, are understory trees, so they tend to grow where there's a heavy amount of leaf litter from other trees and things like that, and wherever you get heavy leaf litter you will get acidity. So I would suggest that maples prefer a slightly more acidic base than some other stuff. I mean, there are some trees prefer quite alkaline soil, chalky type mixes, and don't like acidity at all. But maples do like a bit of, I haven't added a huge amount in, but this will have dropped the pH down. Will when I water it, it won't at the moment. So having mixed some more organic stuff in, I'm now going to add some more grits to balance it out again. So we'll add a couple more handfuls of grit in there to make sure that we get good drainage. And adding that little bit of extra in theory should mean I've got enough now. Now I get two choices. This pretend akadama stuff that I use to mix in with the mix, I've also used to line the bottom of pots. It's very hard baked clay that one day will break down, but it cost me next to nothing at the time I got it. Several people have asked where I got it and what it's called, and I can't remember and I don't know necessarily in that order. I just don't remember where I got it. All I remember was that it was a substitute that was said to be just as good but ridiculously cheap in comparison because it didn't have that packaging with a couple of Japanese symbols and the word akadama written on it. But it's based on exactly the same thing. So I'm quite happy to use that in the bottom of the pot. In addition to that, if the roots do get down in there, it's a perfectly good growing medium. Right, let's get that over there. Get that in there so that any that we drop doesn't go on the floor. We'll get ourselves a layer in. Now I haven't got a hollow under that tree, so I don't need necessarily a mound in the middle, but I would still like it a little higher in the middle because the sides will naturally curve down. So let's get that out of the way now and see where we are. And shall I tell you where we are? Where we are is we've made a big mistake. What mistake have we made? Who spotted it? Why didn't you tell me? You can take the risk of putting a larger tree like that in without wire, but you can guarantee you will forget and you'll lean over and pick up the tree by the trunk and you'll just pull it straight out of the pot. So we don't do that, or we try not to. So basically I'm just going to poke the wire up through now. You know, I should have done it earlier, but better late than never. And we'll have two pieces crossing over. There's one. Why do I always cut? There's a little thing round there. I leave that on simply because it tells me what size the wire is. And I always end up cutting it right next to it and the end disappears. Right, so we've now got to fiddle because I'll have to hold this up in the air to see what I'm doing. Otherwise all the media will fall out. So we just go up through, find a hole, get some up through there, just bend that over, stop it coming back through, come up the other end, just poke around till we get another hole, jolly good. See, although it should have been done before, it doesn't matter, it's not a huge big deal if you leave it till afterwards. It's better if you do it before all the media's in there, quite honestly. There's another one up through there. And then up this end. Pull that one up through. There we go, so we've now got our two pieces of wire. Not the end of the world leaving it till after, but right, where was I? Now this tree, I've got a left brain. I like my first branch to be on the left, but this tree works better that way. It works better with the bend in the trunk coming towards us, with this being the first branch and this being the second branch. This branch may, well, it will heal, but it snapped and I glued it back together and it's a very bad wound, but I think it will heal over. It's always going to look a bit wrong, it'll always look a bit scarred and, you know, not brilliant, but let's look the other way. It'll actually look ridiculously bad. The trunk, looking at it from this way, the trunk goes away and then comes back towards us, which makes this the first branch and this the second branch. I'm going to do it that way simply because the base looks better than it does the other way. So that's how it's going to be. Yep, that's how it's going to be. And in this particular case I'm going to slightly offset it to the left because the main, if you draw a line up through the trunk, from here upwards is slightly off to the right. So that's how we'll do that. This is where I need my little Barbie shovel, my little Barbie scoop in pink, so that I don't get my hands dirty. By the time I've remembered where I've put it and gone and got it, I can have finished. I tend to stick to what I think of as essential tools, things you just can't do without. I'm thinking along the lines now, a lot of my plants will be repotted this year. What doesn't get done this year will probably get done next year. Is it too late to get a mechanical saw? I've seen Peter Chan use it, and I've definitely seen Corinne use it recently to great effect, as opposed to struggling like I've just done. So do I go ahead and get one? Who knows? Where's me essential piece of kit? We've got to make sure we've got right down the sides here and in underneath. I always think, you know, when you've done the job, when the level goes down, if the level stays the same, you may have air pockets in there. There's always somewhere for media to go if you start poking around. And that's the idea, is to get it down into all those air pockets so that the roots have got something to grow into wherever they decide to go, wherever they decide to grow. Of course, the other thing is I haven't got a little brush to dust off either. I just do that. That'll do. Right, so we'll take that one across there. We'll pull it over here, simply because if I pull it over here, when I've done the twisty bit, it'll bury itself in the topsoil and we won't be able to see it. So we'll trim that one off. And we'll come across this side and see what we can do over here. This one can come up this way, twist over here and go into that bit of topsoil. Twisty, cut off. Leave the wire cutters because I'll need them again. Now I've only bought my small pliers out here. I'll see how they do. And this isn't very thick wire, so I won't be pulling too hard here. Well, honestly, you're not, it's not going to withstand ridiculous forces. All it's got to do is hold the plant in place. So it doesn't have to be really thick wire, just enough to hold it in place. Stop it wiggling around. You get more purchase by having a cross over the top, two pieces, than you would do otherwise. There we go. Now I'm going to use my thumbs, because although we've poked down with the little pokey chopstick, we haven't compressed. I always remember at a bonsai demonstration once, I think it was Colette actually doing it, her and Manuel, and they were doing an azalea, and it was a big one, it was like 4 foot tall, massive thing. And they were bestowing the virtues of, always having good drainage and some air, some oxygen within the soil mass and everything like that. And once they got it in there, they then proceeded to punch it down like that with all their force. And I'm sort of thinking, you've just squashed all the air out. It sort of almost contradicted what they just said about, making sure you've got some air in there. But the air is minute in soil. If you think about how compacted a mature tree, what the soil would be like. Sorry about that noise in the background, I didn't realise it was on. That's my heater and fan. Not for the tree, for the orchids. The only reason I repot in here is I don't like talking to myself in the garden. I do have neighbours and they already think I'm nuts. I don't want to add to the mystique. Better. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. That'll do. Test. Pick it up by the trunk. And that'll do. Now I've got another one to do that's exactly the same. So I won't bother filming that. What I will do though is what I usually do is top dress with grit. And I do that simply because it suppresses weeds. It has a bit of a suppression as far as moss is concerned, although the moss will eventually grow in it. And it also stops the slugs getting up the tree, because they won't crawl over it, so you don't get slugs going up the trunk and chewing off your new growth, or snails or such like things we can do without. Right. So there we go, that's one done. I've got another one to do. I'm not doing it today, I will do it tomorrow. One a day. I've set myself a goal, one a day. What will stop that is if we get really heavy rain, because although you haven't heard it yet, how's that battery doing? Just about going to make it. Although you haven't heard it yet, this is a plastic roof, well, polycarbonate roof. If it rains, you can't hear me speak and the microphone seems to home in on it and emphasise it, so it's deafening. You know, I can't film when it's raining hard. A bit of drizzle's okay, but I can't film when it's raining hard. I just can't do it. It's too much roof noise. So that will stop play. But apart from that, tomorrow will be the other one of these. Again, you know, because the leaves are starting to show. This one's already a week later than it should have been, but it'll be okay. It'll get a good water now and it'll get put in the shade so that it doesn't get stressed too much. So another one of these to do tomorrow, and then my hornbeam will be the next one. That one I will film because obviously it's a different type of tree, but it's the same principle at the end of the day. Right, thanks for dropping by. See you next time, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, it would be nice if you did so. I am trying to grow this channel. The channel has been totally stagnated all through the winter because in my bonsai world there's little to nothing to do in those months. And then it all comes at once like 37 buses. And if you don't come from around London, you haven't got a clue what I'm on about. But yes, see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.